Good evening. This is Nathan Cross with American Daily News, and at 2:47 a.m. Eastern Time this morning, the lights went out. Not in one city, not in one state, in 18 states, spanning from Maine to Virginia, west to Ohio, covering 132 million Americans. The power didn't flicker. It didn't brown out. It died. Completely, instantly, simultaneously. And according to emergency briefings from the Department of Energy that were leaked to us 30 minutes ago, it's not coming back for at least 30 days. This was not an accident. This was not a storm. This was not equipment failure. This was a coordinated cyber attack on the U.S. electrical grid that destroyed critical infrastructure in a way that cannot be quickly repaired. The attackers, and U.S. intelligence has already attributed this to state-level actors from Russia and China working in coordination, didn't just shut off the power. They physically destroyed the transformers. They fried the control systems. They turned the most advanced electrical grid in the world into a smoking pile of useless metal and melted silicon. And here's the part that should terrify every American, regardless of where you live. The replacement parts for these transformers don't exist in the United States. They're manufactured in China. They take 18 months to build. They weigh hundreds of tons each, and we need hundreds of them. Right now, the Department of Energy's internal assessment, which I'm reading from a leaked document, states that, quote, restoration of full grid functionality in affected regions is estimated at a minimum of 30 days for Tier 1 priority areas, 90 days for Tier 2, and up to 6 months for complete restoration. Translation: 132 million Americans are about to experience what life was like before electricity, for at least a month, and for many much longer. In the next 20 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what happened, how bad it really is, and what you need to do right now if you're in the affected zone, or if you know someone who is. Because this is not a news story you watch and forget. This is a survival situation unfolding in real time. Let's start with the timeline, because understanding how this happened reveals how vulnerable we actually are. On February 22nd, 2 days ago, cybersecurity firms detected unusual probing activity targeting industrial control systems at electrical substations across the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. This wasn't random hacking. This was reconnaissance. Attackers were mapping the network, identifying critical nodes, testing response times. The activity was flagged but not considered an immediate threat. That was a mistake. On February 23rd, yesterday, the probing intensified. At 11:17 p.m. Eastern, sensors at a substation in Philadelphia detected unauthorized access to the SCADA system, the Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition Network that manages electrical distribution. Engineers locked down the system and reported the breach to the FBI's Cyber Division. They were told an investigation would begin in the morning. There was no morning. At 2:47 a.m. this morning, the attack went live. Simultaneously across 214 substations in 18 states, malware that had been lying dormant in the systems activated. It didn't just shut down operations. It sent massive power surges through the transformers, deliberate overloads designed to physically destroy the equipment. Eyewitnesses near substations reported seeing flashes of light, hearing explosions, and smelling burning insulation. Those were transformers cooking themselves to death. Within 4 minutes, the entire grid in the affected region collapsed. Not degraded, not reduced. Collapsed. The cascading failures happened so fast that backup systems didn't have time to engage. Hospitals went to generator power, data centers scrambled, cell towers started dying as backup batteries drained, and 132 million people woke up in the dark with no idea what was happening. This is exactly the kind of catastrophic scenario you need to understand if you want to survive what's coming. If that matters to you, make sure you're subscribed to this channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss critical survival updates. Because what I'm about to show you is how modern civilization collapses when the electricity stops. Let me show you the receipts. Receipt number 1, the physical damage. According to the leaked DOE assessment, 467 high-voltage transformers were destroyed in the attack. These aren't components you buy at Home Depot. Each one weighs between 100 and 400 tons. Each one costs between $3 and $7 million. Each one takes 12 to 18 months to manufacture. And they're all made in China. Every single one. The United States used to manufacture these transformers domestically. We stopped in the 1990s because Chinese manufacturers could do it cheaper. Now we're completely dependent on foreign supply chains for critical infrastructure. And those supply chains just became a national security nightmare. Even if we placed emergency orders today, even if China agreed to prioritize production, which is not guaranteed given their role in this attack, the earliest these transformers could arrive is summer of 2027. We can't wait that long. Receipt number 2, the affected area. The 18 states completely or partially without power are Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, Ohio, Kentucky, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. That's not just the Northeast. That's the entire eastern seaboard and significant portions of the Midwest and South. Major cities in total blackout include New York, Philadelphia, Boston, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Pittsburgh, Charlotte, and Atlanta. We're talking about the economic and political heart of the United States. Wall Street is dark. The Capitol is dark. The Pentagon is running on backup generators that have fuel for maybe 72 hours. The implications are staggering. The New York Stock Exchange cannot open. The federal government cannot function normally. International confidence in American stability is collapsing as we speak. Receipt number 3, the cascade failures. When the power dies, everything that depends on power dies with it. And in 2026, that's everything. Cell towers have backup batteries that last between 4 and 8 hours. After that, no cell service, no texts, no calls, no internet on your phone. Landlines, for the few that still exist, work for a while, but the central offices that route calls need power too. Within 24 hours, telecommunications across the affected region will be completely dead. Water treatment plants need electricity to pump and purify water. They have generators, but generators need fuel. Fuel trucks need working gas stations to refill. Gas stations need electricity to pump gas. It's a circular dependency that breaks down fast. The EPA is estimating that municipal water systems in the blackout zone will fail within 72 hours. After that, 132 million people will have no clean running water. Food supply chains are already collapsing. Grocery stores in the affected areas are being cleared out, not by looters, by panicked shoppers buying everything they can before it spoils. Refrigeration is gone. Everything perishable is going bad. Freezers are thawing. Within 48 hours, you won't be able to buy fresh food anywhere in 18 states. And the supply trucks can't deliver because the distribution centers have no power to operate, and the gas stations have no power to fuel the trucks. This channel exists to give you information that could save your life. If you found this valuable, hit that like button so more people see this warning. Because what I'm about to tell you is what happens when a modern city loses power for 30 days. Let's talk about what life looks like right now in the blackout zone, because the situation on the ground is deteriorating by the hour. In New York City, 8 million people are without power in the middle of winter. Overnight temperatures are in the 20s. Buildings have no heat. Elevators don't work. People in high-rise apartments are trapped. The elderly and disabled can't get down dozens of flights of stairs. Emergency services are overwhelmed. The NYPD has activated its emergency protocols, but those protocols assume short-term outages, maybe a day or two, not 30 days. Officers are reporting that looting has already started in some neighborhoods. Stores with emergency lighting are being broken into. Pharmacies are being targeted for medications. Gas stations are being swarmed by people trying to fill up before the pumps stop working. The mayor has requested National Guard deployment, but the National Guard can't mobilize effectively because their communication systems are down. Hospitals are in crisis mode. They have backup generators, but they weren't designed to run for weeks. A typical hospital generator has fuel for 72 hours of operation. After that, they need resupply. But the fuel trucks can't navigate the city because traffic lights are out and the streets are gridlocked with abandoned cars. Patients on ventilators, dialysis machines, ECMO, they're on borrowed time. Hospital administrators are being forced to make triage decisions about who gets life support and who doesn't. People are going to die, a lot of people. In Washington, D.C., the federal government has activated continuity of government protocols. Key officials are being evacuated to secure facilities with independent power. Congress has been dismissed. Federal workers have been told to shelter in place. The president is at an undisclosed location. The White House is dark. The image of the American seat of power sitting in total darkness is being broadcast around the world. Our enemies are watching, and they're learning that we're more vulnerable than anyone thought. In rural areas, the situation is different but equally desperate. Small towns don't have the resources cities have. There are no big emergency stockpiles, no massive police forces. If you live in rural Pennsylvania or West Virginia, you're on your own. The good news is, rural communities are often more self-sufficient. People have wells, generators, wood stoves. But those generators need gas, and the gas stations are down. Those wells need electric pumps. The self-sufficiency works until it doesn't. And then it's just isolation. Now let's talk about why this can't be fixed quickly, because this is the detail that changes everything. Modern high-voltage transformers are not simple machines. They're custom-built pieces of precision engineering. Each one is designed specifically for its location based on load requirements, voltage levels, and grid configuration. You can't just swap them out like batteries. They have to be manufactured to specification. The manufacturing process takes 12 to 18 months under normal conditions. First, the engineering specifications have to be confirmed. Then the materials have to be sourced, high-grade electrical steel, copper windings, specialized insulation. Then the components are assembled in a clean room environment because contamination can cause catastrophic failure. Then they're tested extensively. Then they're shipped, which requires specialized heavy haul equipment because these things weigh as much as a commercial airliner. And here's the nightmare scenario that the DOE is grappling with right now. The only manufacturers who can produce these transformers at scale are in China and South Korea. China is suspected of being involved in this attack. They're not going to prioritize emergency orders from the United States. In fact, there's a very real possibility they'll refuse to sell to us at all. South Korean manufacturers are already backlogged with orders, and their production capacity is limited. Even if we could get the transformers, installing them is a massive undertaking. Each installation requires heavy cranes, specialized crews, and weeks of on-site work under normal conditions. In the current environment, with no power to run equipment, with supply chains disrupted with civil unrest, the installation timeline could stretch even longer. The DOE's estimate of 30 days minimum is optimistic. Some analysts are saying 6 months is more realistic for full restoration. So what is the government doing? According to sources inside the Emergency Response Coordination Center, the administration is in full crisis mode. FEMA has been activated. The National Guard is being deployed to all 18 states. The military is setting up emergency command centers. But the scale of this disaster is beyond anything FEMA or the military has planned for. This isn't a hurricane that hits one region. This is simultaneous collapse across a third of the country. The president is expected to address the nation tonight from a secure location. The speech has been pre-written, and it includes a declaration of martial law in the affected states. Curfews will be imposed. Movement will be restricted. The military will have authority to commandeer resources and enforce order. This is not a drill. This is the U.S. government preparing to use force to prevent total societal breakdown. Congress is meeting in emergency session to pass legislation authorizing emergency powers and funding. But Congress can't function normally when half its members can't get to Washington because the airports are closed and the trains aren't running. Some representatives are participating via satellite phone on military networks. It's chaos. International response has been mixed. NATO allies have offered assistance, generators, fuel, technical expertise. But getting that assistance to where it's needed is logistically nightmare. Russia and China have both issued statements expressing concern but denying any involvement. Intelligence agencies have evidence that says otherwise, but proving attribution in cyberattacks is complicated and time-consuming. By the time we have definitive proof, the crisis will already be over one way or another. So why should you care if you're not in the blackout zone? Because what happens in those 18 states affects the entire country. The Eastern Seaboard is the economic engine of America. When New York goes dark, the financial markets freeze. When DC goes dark, government stops. When the ports in Baltimore and Norfolk shut down, imports stop. The ripple effects will hit every state within days. Food prices are already spiking nationwide because distribution networks are disrupted. Gas prices are jumping because refineries in the affected region have shut down. The stock market, when it opens tomorrow in backup locations, is expected to crater. Analysts are predicting a 10 to 15% drop in the first hour. Retirement accounts will take massive hits. The economic damage from this attack could exceed $1 trillion, and that's if it only lasts 30 days. But the bigger concern is precedent. If this attack succeeds, if America is crippled for a month and can't respond effectively, every adversary will learn the lesson. Our infrastructure is soft. Our defenses are weak. Cyber attacks work. The next attack might target different states. It might target water systems. It might target financial networks. Once you prove that America can be hurt this badly with code and malware, the attacks won't stop. Let me walk you through the 3 scenarios for how this plays out. Scenario 1, controlled emergency. The government maintains order through military presence. FEMA distributes food, water, and medical supplies. Power is restored on the 30-day timeline. Casualties are limited to a few thousand mostly vulnerable populations who can't survive without electricity. Society rebounds. This is the best case scenario, and it requires everything going right. Scenario 2, partial collapse. The government loses control of major urban areas. Looting becomes widespread. Violence erupts. Food distribution breaks down. Thousands die. Millions flee the blackout zone heading south and west, straining resources in other states. Power comes back eventually, but the social fabric is torn. Trust in institutions evaporates. The affected region becomes economically depressed for years. This is the realistic scenario based on current trajectory. Scenario 3, total breakdown. The 30-day estimate is wrong. It takes 90 days or longer. The government can't maintain order that long. Cities descend into chaos. Starvation becomes widespread. Disease outbreaks happen because of contaminated water and poor sanitation. Mass migration creates refugee crisis. Political system fractures. This is the nightmare scenario. And it's not as far-fetched as you'd like to think. Civilized society is 3 meals away from anarchy. We're about to find out if that's true. Here's what people in the affected zone need to do right now. First, if you have the ability to leave, leave. Get out of the blackout zone while roads are still passable. Head to family or friends in unaffected states. Don't wait for the government to tell you to evacuate. By then, it will be too late. Second, if you can't leave, stock up immediately. Water is priority one. You need 1 gallon per person per day minimum. Fill your bathtub. Fill every container you have. Assume municipal water will fail in 72 hours. Food is priority two. Non-perishable items only. Canned goods, dry goods, anything that doesn't require refrigeration. Buy as much as you can afford right now. Third, secure heat sources. If you're in a cold climate and you don't have power, hypothermia will kill you faster than hunger. Fireplaces, wood stoves, propane heaters. If you don't have these, layer clothing and create insulated spaces. Fourth, protect yourself. When the lights go out, predators come out. If you own firearms, have them accessible. If you don't, create improvised security. Lock doors, board windows, band together with neighbors. Fifth, conserve phone battery. Your phone is your only link to information and communication. Turn off all unnecessary apps. Use airplane mode. Charge it in your car if you have gas. Once the cell towers die completely, your phone becomes useless anyway, but preserve it as long as you can. And here's the hard truth that nobody wants to say out loud. Some of you won't make it. 30 days without power in modern America will kill people. The elderly who need climate control, the sick who need medication and medical equipment, the unprepared who don't have food or water. Darwin is about to run a brutal experiment on American society, and the results will be measured in body counts. For those of you outside the blackout zone, prepare for impact. Stock your own supplies, because panic buying will spread nationwide. Harden your own security, because refugees will be coming. Support relief efforts, but protect your own family first. And demand answers from your government about how this was allowed to happen and what's being done to prevent it from happening again. If you want to stay updated on this crisis, make sure you're subscribed and that notification bell is on. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Are you in the blackout zone? What's the situation where you are? How are you preparing? Let us know. And if this breakdown helped you understand the severity of what's happening, hit that like button. I'm Nathan Cross. This is American Daily News, and that's the situation.